The 1950s was a decade full of madness and drama. This event that happened in the 50s are the events what shapes our world today.
Myelitis is a very serious disease that can affect the nervous system to become paralyzed. Carl Langster and Erland Popper had discovered it in around 1952. Poliomyelitis was the most serious disease.
Gordon Parks was an American photographer, musician, writer, and film director. One of his most famous works is American Gothic. Washington, D.C. was created in the early 1950s. This work owned by him was about African Americans and their struggle in the land of free.
In the early 1950s, Joseph McCarthy was a Republican for the Cold War, Red Scar, and he was a senator for 1953. In fact, Joseph McCarthy was one of the riskiest during the Cold War and the Red Scar.
Men in 1950s wear vests, and women wear bobby socks, saddle shoes, and poodle skirts. In 1950s, one fun fact are that movie star fashion influenced the clothing style of ladies in 1950.
The 1952 Jaguar XK120 was a famous sports car that almost became as popular as the 1950 Chevy Bel Air, but in a sports bottle. This car wasn't just famous for movie cars or things like that. Thanks to Ian Appleyard, the XK120 had its first win in the road rally in 1950. It was officially released in 1954. On June 25th, 1950, the Korean War impacted Korea and America. American troops from North sent an attack on South Korea's part. At the end of the war, it was a draw, and the war made them be known as North and South Korea today.
When blacks and whites could not do the same thing together, like eat, drink, and even go to the same school, and that was not fair. What if you were in the African American shoes in 1950? How would you feel? Rock and roll dominated popular music in the mid-1950s and the late 1950s, and quickly spread to much of the rest of the world. On August 28th, 1955, Emmett Till was murdered at the age of 14. He died because a white woman lied and said he was whistling at her and was viciously kidnapped and attacked. On the day of his funeral, his mother had an open casket so everybody could see what they did to her son. On September 1956, Brian and Malay confessed that they killed Emmett Till, and the people's reaction was outraged and mad.
The young, groovy artist changed the music and fashion industry. Elvis Presley was a young boy that at the age of 12 bought his first guitar, and from that point on won 14 Grammys from his hit albums How Great Thou Art and He Touched Me, and his live performance at Memphis, and his inappropriate hip swing that was not PG in the 1950s. Elvis was born to be a music star and would impress himself in his music. He started his singing career in 1954. Then in late 1955, his recording contract was sold to RCA Victor. Then finally in 1956, he was an international sensation. These events showed the drama and problems which had happened in the 1950s and how it affected our world. Each of these events made a change in this decade, even though it might have not been noted by many people. These events changed and made the world what it is today.